morning, everyone. Oh, happy Tuesday. Happy first day of the last week of this series. Um, yeah, I cannot believe it's already here. And time has just flown by. So, welcome. And today we're going to be covering two subjects again. We've been consolidating lately just because of busyness and issues with computers and everything else. So, today we're going to be talking about should you be charging sales tax combined with classes? What are they? So, as a reminder, I'm asking you to please enable StreamYard. Please go to the three little dots on the bottom right hand corner of the video and click on enable StreamYard because enabling StreamYard enables me to see who's commenting. Otherwise, it just comes up as anonymous. And as always, we do, we let everybody know why we're here. So we've got two reasons. One, this is to benefit the small business owners that may have been affected by COVID, and they may not be able to afford a bookkeeper. So I want to ensure that you're getting at least some of the basics uh, on what bookkeeping is and how to handle some of it. I know that we're not going really in depth with everything, it's just touching base. So I want to ensure that you know how to uh, read your financials, how to know what the financial health of your business is, because it's better to know the financial health of your business via reports than it is to go by your bank account and see if there's still money there. That doesn't work. The other reason is I help the brand new and newish bookkeepers who have been affected by some of these new online programs that have been promising the world to them and have really failed them. So I am here giving them help, giving them pointers, giving them mentorship, and these videos help them as well. So we always go over a review. We, of course, did another consolidated lesson last week, and so we went over jobs in QuickBooks Desktop and projects in QuickBooks Online, and also how to properly detail your billing. So remember, jobs in QuickBooks Desktop is without actually going into the program. I've been having some issues with it lately. Excuse me. Um, Jobs in QuickBooks Desktop is a way that you can categorize your clients. So when you're in the customer section of QuickBooks Desktop, you've got your parent customers. So let's say that you are a construction company, you are a rental company, a hotel, perhaps. If you're a hotel, you probably don't need me. Just using that as an example. You are a company that deals with multiple locations. Your clients may have multiple locations. So, as a construction company, you're going to have clients that may have more than one property. And so, you need a way to keep track of all of that. Not only keep track of it as far as uh, everything that you are doing within QuickBooks and billing and invoicing and things like that, but also with keeping track of job costing. And what job costing is actually discovering whether or not you made a profit on the job, keeping track of all of that, keeping track of all of your expenses, keeping track of all of the money that came in on contract or T&M, and and really just calculating everything. And QuickBooks assists in doing that. So for QuickBooks Desktop, it's just a matter of clicking a button that says Add Customer or Job. So when you've got your parent customer, you go to that customer and you say create job, and it will bring all of their information over, the parent customer, and then all you have to do is put in a description, or what we do in construction is put the address there in the description field, and that's going to be the title. So now when you go to pay any of your expenses that are specific to that job, then you can allocate everything specifically to that job in QuickBooks Desktop. And then you can run a report every single month or however often you need it. Uh, then there is projects and QuickBooks Online. They are virtually the same thing. They've got a different name. Both have slightly different functionality. So in QuickBooks Online, and I am going to show this to you just because it is easy for me to show you. No, I'm not, because I am unable to get to projects in the sample company. I forgot. In projects, you're doing basically the same thing. You are creating a subcategory of your client. You're creating something that says, yes, this client or this job belongs to this client. You're telling it, when you're telling QuickBooks when you think it will be started and completed, and you're going to give it tasks. Now, the tasks are a functionality of QuickBooks Online, not necessarily of QuickBooks Desktop. So you can give it all kinds of different tasks. And each and every time you complete one of these tasks, you can check it off. And so it keeps track of everything. But also, just like in QuickBooks Desktop, now when you pay all of your expenses and enter bills, if you do that, then you can allocate it to that job. And now you can run all of these reports that shows how much you spent on the job, all the money that you received for that job, you're also going to allocate to that. And so now it's going to give you all these detailed reports to tell you, this is how much you started out with, this was your estimate, this is how much you spent, this is how much you received, this is how much you have profited or lost in this job. So it's very basic. It does take a little while to learn as far as QuickBooks Online. So and then how to properly detail your billing. Now, remember, if you are a company that is offering a service that is extremely detailed, service as in, and I'm always using construction because that's my specialty. It's also um, a lot of what we've been going over as far as um, certain things within QuickBooks and the accounting style and the industry. So how you should properly detail your billing, again, is based off of exactly what you have done. When your employees bring you their time cards, if they're doing manual, as well as their job forms, the one that I had created a sample for you, you need to take those job forms and go on ahead and categorize each one within the dates. So you want to lump everybody together per date. And now what you're going to do is calculate how many hours of what was done. And then you're going to take all the details, all the descriptions for everything that they wrote on those job forms, and you're going to put those under the dates on your billing. It could be 4 pages long. I'm not going to lie to you. It could be 4 pages long. It could be more. If this is a T&M rather than a contract, because if it's based on contract, they've already got the estimate. You're just going to tell them, yep, this is a contract billing. For a T&M invoice, though, you need to keep track of everything that they've done, how many hours they've worked, so you can bill every single hour that they worked that week or that month, however often you bill. And essentially, you've got your description there, and then you're going to take all of the hours and you're going to lump them all in per title. So you may have labor one and labor two, and then you could have superintendent, you could have foreman, you could have plumber. The list is endless. So you want to ensure that you have all of your different rates with a different title on them and know which one it is that you need. So, for instance, if you had two people doing the same thing, um, let's say lawn service, we're going to kind of switch it up a little bit and go to landscaping here, but let's just say that you had two people doing lawn service for 8 hours, and that is your lowest pay grade as far as your billing goes. So, for that, it may be labor. We're just going to call it labor. You're going to write down your description on the billing or type your description in the billing. And then in the next line, you're going to have labor 16 hours. Two people at 8 hours apiece. That's 16 hours. And that'll give you your total. And then the next line, it's going to be the next person or people that did this next task. And you're just going to keep going down the line, and you're going to do that for every single day. If you are working for construction, or if you have a construction business and you want to be able to make a little bit more money or a better profit, this is how you're going to do it. Obviously, your work will also show how much your worth is, but you want to give them exceptional billing because they'll want to pay you more. When you give them every single detail that you have done and every single person that's worked in what they've done, they'll want to pay you more. So, okay, we are going to go to the meat and potatoes. I have 0 slides today, so you get to see my ugly mug today. Um, so again, we're going over, should you be charging sales tax? And classes, what are they? I am going to share my screen for the classes so that you can see what they are. But as far as sales tax goes, it's just me. So obviously, every single state is different. Every single state has a different law. For instance, because I've lived in these states and I know, for instance, California, they do not require services to charge sales tax, even on the materials that they purchase. So if you are a service, any service in California, you do not have to charge sales tax. However, if you are a restaurant, that is different. If you're a restaurant, you do have to charge sales tax on certain things, and you can charge sales tax on the service itself. But as far as I am aware of, all other service based businesses do not charge sales tax. Here in the state of Texas, it is completely different. In the state of sales tax, they have a list of industries, service-based industries that charge sales tax, and a list of service-based industries that are not required to charge sales tax. Most industries, regardless of what industry the type is, regardless of whether you're product-based or service-based, most of them do have to charge sales tax on everything. Thankfully, I'm not one of them. So bookkeeping is not required to charge sales tax. However, this is where your research is key. When you go onto your state website, you need to look. You need to do your research on the state mandated sales tax laws, and you need to look up whether or not there are certain industries that have to charge sales tax, whether services have to charge sales tax. If the services don't have to charge sales tax, you want to dig deeper. Because in the state of Texas, I don't have to charge sales tax on any service that I do. But if I charge my clients for any expenses at all that I'm being reimbursed, for instance, my QuickBooks online subscriptions, I have wholesale subscriptions. And what happens is Intuit, the parent company, takes that subscription out from my checking account. So then I have to pass that along to the client so that I get reimbursed for it. So if I charge any reimbursements at all, reimbursable expenses, subscriptions for like QuickBooks, for um, oh, HubDoc, which is, another subscription specific. It's kind of like Dropbox. If I charge any subscriptions, any mileage, anything like that in the state of Texas, I have to charge sales tax on all of that. And so I can get around it by packaging everything, and then I don't have to ask for any reimbursements. So you really need to do your research because, again, every single state is different. One state may not require you to pay sales tax on anything at all if you're a service. Another one, they may say, oh, yeah, you have to pay sales tax on everything no matter what you do. Others might be like Texas. So it's kind of a hybrid situation here in Texas. So do your research, go to your state website, look up sales tax law for your state, and you really need to read all of that. Do your research and drill down as much as you can. You need to dive into that rabbit hole. I'm sorry, that's kind of the way it is, unfortunately. And it could take you a little while, but you will find your answers. I wish that there was a cut and dry answer. I wish that I was able to tell you exactly what it is that you have to do, but that's not the case when it comes to this situation, unfortunately. Next, we are talking about classes. What are they and how are they used? So this is when I am going to share my screen so that I can show you what this looks like. Okay, so here we are back in Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. This is our sample company in QuickBooks. And let's see, I am hoping that I can get to classes in here. And of course, it's not going to give me classes in the sample company. Go figure. Okay, we're going to do this without sharing the screen. So you get to see me the entire time. Okay, so what classes are is it is another way of keeping track of everything for reporting purposes. So let's say you are a small nonprofit, and we're actually going to go a little bit deeper into that. Let's say you're a small church, because churches are in many cases a lot more deeper in the nonprofit sector than what other nonprofits are. Um, so let's say you're a small church. You have a mission committee, and this mission committee has, let's just say, a dozen different missions that need to be funded. These missions have um, a lot of donations that you send out to every single year. And then we're going to take it a step further and say, yes, you've got your missions committee with a dozen different missions attached to it. But I also have all of my parishioners that are giving us weekly donations. And we also want to keep track of who is giving donations that's not a member. And we want to keep track of anyone that gives us donations that's not a member that didn't give us a name. It's just loose cash. So you can have hundreds of different scenarios, especially if you're a church, because now you have to keep track of every single one of those things. If you have those missions, guess what, guys? When money comes in, you can't just spend it and you can't just put it where you want to put it. Now, depending on what church it is that you work for and what their bylaws are, your church could allow the congregation to tell you how they want it to be spent. Most churches they don't do it that way. Most of them don't. I happen to know some that do. Most churches will put all of the donations into one specific pot, mix it all up, and then the board will get together and they will make the decision as to where all of the money goes. They'll make the decision as to how much money gets placed in each one of these missions. So essentially, what's going to end up happening is when you get the word, and we're just going to stay on the church scenario here just because it's so detailed and it's really good for classes. You get the word on how all of this money should be allocated. Well, now you've been told that you need to spend $2,000 per mission. That's a dozen different missions. Plus, you need to allocate money towards the operating fund. And then you have to put some in the building fund. You've got all of these different funds that you now have to allocate money to. And on top of that, you have a fundraiser that's coming up. And you've just received $30,000 specifically from this fundraiser. And that's just preliminarily. So you need a way to keep track of all of this. You've got your chart of accounts. You're going to have to put the majority of all of your detail into the chart of accounts through the reporting that way. But if you have, let's just take it another step forward. We're just going to keep on digging this hole. You've got, let's say, 3 fundraisers going on at the same time. You've already received money for one, and the fundraiser hasn't even come yet. You've made the announcement that this fundraiser is coming and any donations are appreciated. If you can't make the fundraiser, please consider donating now. But then you make an announcement saying, oh, by the way, we've got these other 2 fundraisers coming up for these 2 other events, these 2 other missions or whatever. How are you going to keep track of all of that? Because you can put it in the chart of accounts, but it might make your reporting a beast. You want to use classes. So in order to use classes, you actually have to turn that on within QuickBooks. Tell it, yes, I use classes. And the classes are just a name. You could put anything in it that you want, but ideally it's just a name. So if you have your first fundraiser and it's for children's ministry, then you're going to have a class that's called Children's Ministry Fundraiser. And chances are you're going to have this fundraiser once a year. And then you're going to have another class that says building fundraiser. So you're going to create that. And then your third one is going to be trip to Mexico fundraiser. You're going to put that in there. So those are your three classes. Now, every single time money comes in or money is spent, you are going to give those classes to every single line item and every single piece of information that you put in whenever you receive that. So you've just received $30,000 preliminarily for this fundraiser for the children's ministry. Woohoo! And now you're going to put in the deposit and you're going to give it that class. And now you've got face painting that you're doing you're paying someone to do face painting at the fundraiser. You are paying a food truck to come by. You're paying for balloons. You're paying for clowns. I know we're getting really extravagant here, and churches probably wouldn't do much of that. You've got all of these expenses that you're now paying for this fundraiser in order to make money. It's just like any other business. In order to make money, you got to spend money. So when now you're paying those expenses and you're going to give them that class code. And that's going to say Children's Ministry Fundraiser. So now, when everything is said and done, the fundraiser has ended, and you have counted the last donation, and you've classed it to the Children's Ministry Fundraiser. Now you can go to a specific report where you can actually look at classes. And it's going to show you how much you spent and how much you made just on that one class. Or you can put it all in the chart of accounts. So you're going to have 10 pages worth of accounts in your COA that your board is going to read and go, what the heck is this? I can't read it. It's too long. Or you can just pull a report that says, okay, these are the classes that we've used, and this is how much we spent and received in these fundraisers. It's short, sweet, and to the point. And it tells them everything that they need to know. So classes are your friends, y'all. Use them. They benefit you highly. So I would really recommend using classes, learning how to use them and utilize them. Okay. So that's it for tonight. Tomorrow, we are going to be discussing month end. And this is a kind of a deep dive. It's a really important part of your bookkeeping. And for all of the bookkeepers out there, especially the ones that I have given process lists, you really need to tune in and watch tomorrow's episode for month end, because we're going to be going over all of that and what it is that you should be doing every single month. And I got to tell you, for bookkeepers, think of it like the retail industry. When it comes to the retail industry, there are certain times of the year when it's best not to take time off. For retail, it's usually Christmas time. Christmas time and immediately following, because that's going to be the busiest season. For the food industry, specifically for um, ice cream shops, summer is going to be your busiest time. So they always tell you, plan on not taking any time off during this time because we need you. For bookkeepers, it's exactly the same. But for us, we are required to be here helping everybody a lot more often than not. For us, it's not plan on being here once a year, plan on being here twice a year during this time. Please don't take any time off during this time. No, for us, it's once a month. So, and it's specifically for month end. So, we will be talking about all of this tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time live. And we only have 2 episodes left, only two. So, Thursday's episode will wrap everything up. You'll understand, I hope you'll understand the very last piece of information that is required to happen during month end. So tune in again, tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, live when we will be discussing month end. I pray all of you have a wonderful evening.